Good morning, quilt people and seekers of the world. How are you? I'm doing awesome. Very excited about today's topic, magical being. That's right. We had a little election this last week, didn't we? How did that go for everyone? Oh, awesome. It all depends on how you look at it, I guess. All depends on your background and where you come from and what's important to you, right? Because we all have different opinions about what that should be. So how do I feel about that as a magical being? How do I feel about somebody who is openly racist, who is a sex offender, who is, all these things, convicted felon, who says the most infantile and outrageous things, who's offensive on every level, who demeans women, calls people names like he's in 5th grade, right? How do we feel about that? That is the American culture right now. That is America. So if you want to live in America, you need to know the rules, and that's what we're doing right now, right? And I think there's going to be a lot of people who are very surprised when they come face to face with full-on fascism, right? When they start mass deportations and a lot of other things that are very threatening to the humanity and existence and livelihoods of people who have been here for a while. I'm not having an opinion one way or the other. I'm just watching the show, right? I remember last time when this happened, I was upset. I was angry. I was like, how can they do this? They're clearly doing it wrong. No, they're not. They're not doing anything wrong. They're just doing their lives the best way that they know how, right? Because white supremacy arrives to people as a comforting blanket. It doesn't arrive feeling like hate. It arrives feeling like the goodness that Americana has to offer in your church pews. That's how it arrives. So it feels really good to a lot of people, right? To have those rules, to have an understanding of what's right and wrong, what's good and bad, as predetermined by somebody else, where you yourself don't ever have to question it. Because it's the Word of God. Who would question the Word of God? Oh, I would. Oh, that's right. Right? Because there's 4,000 religions on this planet. And I wanted to go and preview them all. I wanted to try them on. I wanted to see which one fit on me best, right? Which one most closely aligned with my personal held beliefs and truths. But most people aren't willing to do that. They see their parents and what they're doing and they're like, oh, this is religion. This is what's right and wrong. And they just, step right up and they just follow along without ever thinking critically about whether this organization truly represents them. So what we end up with is tradition rather than religion. Big difference. Anyhow, so in being a magical being, first and foremost is understanding where your power lies. Where is your power? Because a lot of people are going to see this election and they're going to want to get out there and fight it, and they're going to want to do things, right? They're going to want to strategize and get out there and do all the things and right? That's one way to go. But it's not as powerful or as productive as being a magical being and approaching it from a different place. We, as humans in a body, cannot fully understand what we are because the imaginal mind, the mind of man, cannot comprehend what we truly are, right? Where does your power live? Does your power live in being able to best the opponent? Does your power live in going out into the world and doing things, fixing things, helping things? It doesn't live there. Because you can't help, fight, or fix without adding to the global chaos. If you want to be global chaos, go for it. I personally have decided that that is too costly for my soul. So instead of, like we talked about before, right? The projector of your mind showing you all these things and going out in the world and trying to fight those things, right? Those things that you're seeing, right? That's the weak man's approach. To be strong, to be seated in yourself, to know and understand where your truest power lies, is to be still, is to be quiet, is to disconnect, is to understand where you are versus where everyone else is. People will egoically attach to the country, to a political party, to a certain singer, to like all these things to determine who and what they are. You're not any of those things. And the problem with that mindset is if you attach yourself to those things, to that football team, to that political party, when it wins or loses, you feel a certain way. You're no longer observing, you're judging. And once we get into judgment, we can't participate in the crazy without being crazy. The real power lies in knowing who and what you are and where you are. I am only in this room. I am only here and now. There is no past, there is no future. And to think on those things is to participate in illusion. We've covered this so much. Understand, if you're participating in the illusion of thought, if you're participating in the world of man, you will be unhappy. Think about it this way. We can look at the earth and say, Earth sucks. I mean, it's such hard times right now. Look around. America has fallen. Right? All these things. That's one way to go. Or you can look at exactly the same thing and say, Earth is beautiful. Earth is wonderful. Earth is love. Earth is healing. Earth is teaching. Earth is abundance. Earth is God. The difference between those two things, and I really want you to get this, is whether you're looking at the world of man or whether you're looking at the world of God. If you're watching the news and participating in the crazy, you will be crazy. It will make you crazy. Because it's showing you all these things that you don't have the personal power to go out and do anything about it, except for maybe once every 4 years when you go vote. But other than that, why do you need to know about these things? You don't. Right? Unless you're just taking it on as entertainment. If that's fun for you to get yourself all riled up and mad and angry and out in the world having certain opinions and expressing yourself in certain ways that feels good to you, right? That's one way to go. But there's no happiness there. Everything we seek is on the other side of stillness. Everything we seek is on the other side of stillness. All of your power, right? All of your love, all of your fulfillment and contentment, all of your personal wealth and standing in the world. Everything that you want can be granted to you so long as you understand that you have to grant it to yourself. Don't go out in the world looking for somebody else or something else or some other institution to complete you. You are complete. You are whole. So long as you tell yourself that. But most of us don't. Most of us are walking through the world going, I'm such an idiot. Why did I do that? You know. That is not the mindset of a powerful being. So our superpower of being a magical being lies in one thing, and one thing only: the ability to change our minds. Can you do that? Can you change your mind So that when your mind is showing you things that you're not enjoying, or your imagination is showing you harmful things that are creating chaos in your own vibration, can you stop that? Can you make another choice? Can you go, no. Because all that chaos in your mind, right, that's just the ego trying to understand itself, right? And especially lovelessness, like when lovelessness shows up in your world as presented to you by another human, like our mind tries to like understand it by going over and over and over and over and over it. Lovelessness, lovelessness, lovelessness. That was painful. That was awful. That was terrible. Oh my gosh. Like that was super hurtful. Oh my gosh. And it's because through evolution, we have been programmed to place that which is a threat in the forefront of our minds, right? This is a survival mechanism, right? You have to be aware of that which is a threat in your environment. That first and foremost is what your mind will fill itself with unless you make another choice. Can you? Can you go like, my mind is like attacking me and showing me things, and actually, you know what, I'm just gonna go to the beach. In my mind, I'm just gonna go to the beach. I'm just gonna hang out and I'm gonna, there I am. That feels better, right? To take yourself elsewhere. And when I see someone in a shamanic healing session, a lot of the times we'll actually adopt either a trigger or a pose or something physical in order to tap into that thing, right? Remember that other exercise where we were like adopting the best feeling ever and then assigning it a color, right? So you can more quickly associate with it in your mind to get there more quickly. This is the same thing. So when your mind is attacking you, when you're in anxiety or depression or sadness, find a trigger for you. For a while, for me, it was hitting myself right here, like holding my solar complex or whatever. Oops, sorry. Right? To hit myself right here and to hold that as my little button, right? That takes me out of wherever I am and gets me into trust. That gets me out of myself and my fear, because that is not me. That's just my mind trying to understand itself, but we think we are our mind when we are in fact not. We are much greater than that. We are far more powerful than that. And it all stems from what you're thinking, what your vibe is, what words you're using, and how you're resonating in the world. Because if you're resonating with fear and lack and scared, energy, that's not a powerful way to be in the world, right? Our superpower lies in our ability to save ourselves from our emotional and mental hell. To know that whatever we're programming into our minds, whatever we are allowing our brain to show us, needs to be taken into control. Most people won't do that. They don't even know that they have the ability to change their thoughts when they're in stress or depression or sadness. They're just in the mood, right, with no way out, right? Sometimes, like we talked about, like this being, okay, get me into trust, that's my trust button. But also sometimes, like, I just get into a power pose of like, yes! Major power pose. I'm Wonder Woman. So when I'm having a thought that I'm not enjoying, I just go, BAM! It works for me. Because it's kind of silly and it's kind of fun, right? And so when I'm having stress and anxiety, if I can do something for myself that is fun and stupid and makes me laugh, why am I not going to do that? Take yourself there. Be responsible for self. Let no thought attack you. You have to be the guide to your own mind. You can't just let it run unchecked and just struggle and suffer. Your superpower all lies in that one thing, to change your mind. And it's in seeing what is and having the alchemy to change that where you really start to become powerful. There's nothing in the world that you can't show me that I can't see the reason why it's there. And that's a decision, that's a choice, right? Like all of this is here for a reason, and it's not up to me to judge it. It's just for me to understand where I fit into all of that. Do I need to remove myself from that? Do I need to just ignore it? Or do I need to respond? And if I do need to respond, what does that look like? Is this triggering anger in me? Is it telling me that my boundaries have been crossed? If so, what are my boundaries? And do I need to change that boundary? Again, like the whole thing is in your mind, like looking at the world, and you're not out in the world trying to fix and fight it. You're in your head going, oh, why is that here? Oh, okay, yeah, got it. All right, that, yeah, needs alchemy. So I'm gonna switch that into something different. I see that, and I'm not even gonna see it actually, right? Because there's 3 responses you can take to anything that shows up in your life, knowing that it's arriving in your life because you yourself have brought it there. You can't complain about the world when you know that you yourself have manifested the whole show. Can you get into that level of personal power? I'm manifesting this whole show, and everything that shows up is either like a mistake, right? Like, ooh, I thought I wanted that, but yeah, just kidding, I don't. Right? So you can ignore it. Right? You can respond to it, or you can use your magic to change it. Can you change the Middle East? Can you change all the fear in the world to love? What can you change in your mind? And it, again, your mind is your reality. So if you're just like, I see something, you're like, okay, I don't like that. That's different. That's changed. Or, that dead animal on the side of the road is now alive and scampering off into the woods. Can you do that? I was surprised when I first started studying shamanism of how much the imagination in their faith community is the portal to learning and higher thinking. The imagination is where a lot of this lives. However, and this is really like layer upon layer upon layer, once you get into understanding that the imaginal mind only operates in the body, but that you operate in spaces bigger than that, then you really start to step into your power. But you gotta understand that the imaginal mind, that which you see, that which you respond to, that which you're thinking about every day is not you. And you don't even operate from there. And all of the things that you do within the imaginal mind can't comprehend who you actually are. Because the imaginal mind can only comprehend that you are a body, that you are a person, that you are limited, that you only take up this much space. That's the imaginal mind. All right, some call it the Adamic mind, the mind of Adam, right, of Adam and Eve. Its original thought, right? We are bigger than that. We can conduct amazing things without force or without physicality. And that's where we're getting to in understanding your superpower. It's not living in the world as you see it. It's living in the world as you can imagine it. And as you live more in the imaginal mind of never seeing the world as it is, but rather seeing the world as it could be, right? Once you're holding on to the vision of what could be, it's like in Auschwitz. The people who survived those internment camps, the people who survived had a vision for their life outside of the camps and life beyond that. Can you hold that vision, or you're just in the camp? It's that serious. Use your mind to foresee. Use your vision and imagination to bring it into being, right? Speak only of that which you are trying to manifest, because, your words become really super powerful, right? Get into understanding your imaginal mind and its purpose and its power. It all lives there and is available for you to use your ability to alchemize any situation, any person, right? But it all comes from not being attached. Don't be attached to anybody, anything, any country, any politician. It's not there for you. It's not there for you. You're there for you. Not all this other. That has nothing to do with you. I'm not upset about the election. It's like, okay, this is where we are. Let's see how this goes. Because I've also found the spiritual principles found behind not caring. Oh, we're devolving into full-blown fascism? Okay, fine. Until it shows up on my property, there's really not much that I can do about it. I'm not going to make myself crazy about it. I'm not going to participate in it. What am I going to do? I'm going to alchemize it. I'm going to see it in the way that it's showing up, and I am going to turn it into something else in my mind. Because your mind doesn't know the difference between what you're doing there, it's imagination, if it's imagined or if it's real, because it's all the same to it. So understand your ability to see the future and bring it into being. If you're not seeing it, they won't either. Start there. Stop caring. Stop involving yourself in things, even justice causes, that are not you. That's not your deal. You are your deal. Not the world, not the political scene, no. You, your vibe, your words, and your vision are the only thing that you should be holding on to, that you should care about. Don't care about them, right? I learned that lesson kind of the hard way. I made quilts for 30 years, and when it was time for me to need help because I was sick and I was trying to write books and I was trying to start life in a new direction because of my health situation, nobody showed up for me. They didn't care. They're like, okay. Once you realize how forgettable you are, how quickly the world will move on from caring about you, you will never again make it about them. Keep it about you. Keep it about you always. Always decide your life from the point of view of what is best for you. Do not do for others. You cannot help others without bringing chaos into the world unless, here's a caveat, unless they come to you looking for help. But being out in the world trying to be helpful, trying to fix things, trying to be a good citizen, it's all chaos. Don't do that. Be quiet, be home, be at stillness, right, within yourself, and hold the vision for others to see you as a way shower. The only way we get out of this is when all the adults in the room stop trying to fix or fight. But everyone is in the room trying to fix or fight, and so we have chaos all the time, and nobody is standing there silently. Stand there silently. Let the rest just wash over you, right, in the giant chaos that is man. Do not attach to it. Do not care, right? Do not care. Do not try. Do not effort. Know where your power lies, and it's not being out in the world fixing and fighting and being crazy and creating chaos. We cannot fight others. And once you understand within your soul that you can only fight yourself, you stop doing it. I can't go out in the world and fight others without fighting myself. Because in order to fight others, I have to, within myself, get to that level of internal chaos. And that's too expensive for my soul. I won't do it. I won't do it anymore. Right? I was out there being a justice warrior and fixing and fighting and helping and all these justice causes and how much global chaos was I bringing into the world under that cause, under my own righteousness. And here's the thing. Those who operate with righteousness, with a cause, with being right, will never know happiness or love. So it's a choice. Do you want to be right or do you want to be happy? I mean, we all know that, but to actually get to that point where you're like, actually, I can't fix or fight without causing chaos within myself, and I don't want to do that anymore. Your imaginal mind can only grasp onto clues of the fact that you are in fact God. You operate with the same consciousness, with the same Christ consciousness that arrived to us through that portal. Tap into that portal, right? And understand that you can no longer just be you. You no longer can just be in your imaginal mind, because your imaginal mind can only understand you controlling yourself. Your imaginal mind cannot understand you controlling the entire show. All of it is you. Can you be that magical? Are you that magical of a being? It's all self-granted, and it's all up to you, and no one's coming to save you, no one's coming to rescue you, except maybe you. And maybe that's why you're here. Anyways, that's where we are today. I hope that was helpful, and I will talk to you next time. All right, bye.